Hello and welcome along to the West Yorkshire Football Show for instant post-match reaction to Leeds United 2, Millwall 0, or as the Leeds United official Twitter account said, the FA Cup fifth round finalists Millwall 0. Brilliant win for the Whites tonight, very important after the Pompey defeat at the weekend. If you're watching along on YouTube, please do like the video, get involved as well, send your comments. What did you make of that one tonight? I'm Stephen Brown, and joining me as ever is Mr. Jason Booker. There we go, Jason. Back to the top of the league. It was a long 24 hours, not at the top of the league, but we're back there again tonight. Quite a lot to get through with tonight's performance. Let's rewind. Let's take it back to pre-match and the lineup. I think there were a lot of people on socials wondering if Farker would ring the changes. Would we see a change out wide? Would Aronson be dropped? Would something else happen there? And the only change was kind of expected. Rothwell coming in for the home game, replacing Ilya Gruev. Certainly no surprises for me, Jason. I mean, I know there's as soon as you kind of results, a couple of disappointing results, people are clamouring for the changes, but this is Daniel Farker. He was never going to ring the changes, was he? There was no danger of that, really.
No, and I mean, he's not the only one that's like that. Mr. God himself, Marcelo, was exactly the same.
Yeah.
When we were in sticky patches, people were clambering for Bamford to be dropped and Nketiah to come in. He stuck his heels into the ground and he did it anyway. And he did it time and time again with others as well. And Daniel Farker's, got it spot on in that the facts are is that that is our best 11 available, and Purdue aside, obviously. And you play your best 11. You play the ones more suited for the positions, more suited for the roles. This Rothwell Gruev exchange, home and away, makes perfect sense. I thought it was brilliant tonight, Joe Rothwell. Yeah. I don't think it's then just as simple as Joe Rothwell has to start now every game because they played really, really well. I think that's why you have different players with different attributes for different games. And I thought ultimately the players that we needed to kind of see step up and have a game really did. I thought Solomon was excellent. I thought Brendan was brilliant. People are not going to want to wear it. Didn't get a goal, don't get an assist, and all the rest of it. But his link-up was excellent. I thought Joe Perreault, for me, man of the match. I thought Perreault was absolutely brilliant. And Tanaka came back from his performance at the weekend with a full-on Tanaka performance. I mean, you could argue Tanaka was maybe the man of the match, but for me, Perreault had a 90. He really did. He had a 90 where everything was just coming off. His link-up play was brilliant. For me, mate, it was everything that I kind of wanted to see. First half, we weren't at a scintillating best, but Millwall are a decent side that offer, some real resilience, very good defensively, offer us some problems. You don't want to get caught on the break and then, give away a silly free kick. And, they create their best chances from putting balls into the box. Even when we did have to deal with that, it wasn't a problem. We dealt with them really, really well. Meslier was pretty much untested outside of a deflected cross that he had to kind of tip away from his near post. Just really, really solid all-round good performance for me.
Yeah, indeed. I thought the first half it was interesting actually, because I actually kind of wrote down in my notes that despite kind of scoring 3 minutes in, I felt like the first 20 minutes we looked quite nervy, quite edgy, and not totally relaxed. It kind of, we were kind of losing the ball a little bit sloppily. I thought Millwall actually probably had their best period of the entire game in that kind of opening 20 minutes. And I've been absolutely going out of my mind, probably PTSD from last year. Other teams getting lucky breaks, lucky goals. We saw it last night. The West Brom keeper makes a mistake for Burnley's equaliser, and it was nice to see something happen like that for us. I mean, just sometimes you need that help, don't you, Jason? Sometimes you just need a little bounce or something to go for us. It feels like we genuinely are so deprived of that. So it was nice actually to see something like that go for Leeds, and just to give us a little leg up, because I thought we looked a bit kind of on edge like at the start of the game, which is fine. It's the opening of the game. You got to play yourselves into it. But it's just nice to have a little break like that where it's something, a bit of luck or something, just goes for us. I mean, it's it makes a change.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we so often have to do it the hard way, don't we? We don't seem to get anything kind of gifted to us or a little bit of a lucky break. And you know, we had a disagreement in the WhatsApp group, not me and you, but me and the boys, in that I thought it was a goalkeeping error. They thought it was unlucky. I mean, either way, it was a stroke of luck for us. And, you know, I do agree. I think, like, it's funny, isn't it? Because it comes 2 minutes into the next game, in where, again, the game directly before, we missed so many glorious chances. But we can't have one of them just go for us at the weekend to get a point or even maybe win that game. So, you know, that's football sometimes, isn't it? It's just, that is just the way that football is. You know, at the end of the day, sometimes something comes from putting the ball into the areas of the pitch, and that's what Solomon did, because the cross wasn't great, and it takes a deflection and goes in. Same as the shot yesterday that Burnley had, that then the goalkeeper unnecessarily parried. You know, you put the ball into them areas, and sometimes things happen. So yeah, I think it was well overdue, mate. Well overdue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in terms of the goal that got disallowed, Nigeria, thanks for your comment, mate. Pirro robbed of a brilliant goal. I thought if you were level, you were onside. I think if they'd have been drawing the lines, the guy's arm, yeah, it would have. I mean, I was gutting. That was an absolutely unbelievable move. Pirro's footwork, Brendan's little back heel. I mean, it was just cracking, was it? What a shame that's not counted.
I said to the boy, because I thought it was a terrible decision. Like, it's one of them, like, the linesman is on that side where he can see the defender first, then the attacker. So how is he making the decision that it's offside? Because he won't have been able to see Brendan. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, you're looking down the line, you see the defender will be here in front of him, and then the attacker behind. So he won't be able to see the attacker. So how do you make the decision that it's offside? It makes no sense to me. And I understand it happens in a split moment, but it's a really, really bad decision, I think. I think it's a really, really poor decision. And it was such a shame, because it was a great goal. It's a great finish. Pirro, for me, all game was at it. The only thing that he missed today was a goal. He really deserved a goal today. And he took the finish brilliantly, didn't he? He looked like he just had the bit between his teeth after what happened at the weekend. I don't know if you've seen the clip back of the second chance, the one that he blazed over the bar from the weekend. It looks like the defender knocks his ankle as he's about to hit it. He doesn't claim for a foul or anything. But if you watch it back, it looks like he actually clips his ankle. I don't know whether, you know, I'm giving him a bit too much grace with that, but I just don't expect Pirro to ever miss a target from there, ever. You know, it was right at it today. And he absolutely deserved the goal. So yeah, it was a big shame that didn't come off. But c'est la vie, that's football, and it didn't matter, thankfully. So
no, because I've got to say, I thought that second half performance was absolutely fantastic from Leeds. I thought it was. I don't know what was said at halftime. It's not that the first half was particularly bad. It was just kind of, I don't know. It just wasn't a great deal going on. I didn't think it was the most memorable half, but I thought second half was kind of almost the best of us under Farker. It was kind of pressing. I mean, I thought Rothwell and Tanaka were just at it. So I mean, Tanaka in that second half especially just absolutely shone, and they just worked their socks off. They worked so hard. I mean, they all did, and I just thought that was the kind of Leeds under Farker that we know. You know, it's what we didn't see in the West Brom game. You know, a couple of weeks before, it was just 100% and just forcing that second goal eventually.
I say this a lot though, Browney. Like the fact how there's two teams playing a game, and in the first half, you know, Millwall have got their, you know, as much energy and desire as they're going to have in the game. They concede after 2 minutes and the game kind of stagnates a little bit. But they're putting in everything. They're kicking us up in the air a couple of times. I mean, there were a few fouls that the referee just either ignored or didn't give a yellow card for. Given the second half, we'd carried them into deep waters and we were drowning them. That's what was happening. We were drowning them. And eventually, the quality and the fitness and the desire took over and we got the second goal. You know, the second goal could have come way before it did. So, you know, first half, is it a massive surprise to see a fairly decent championship side laying a few punches on us? It's not. You know, at the halfway distance, we were probably 4-2 up on the cards, as I like to reference in boxing. You know, if you're halfway up, they've won a couple of rounds, but we're still in front. Second half, we won all 6 rounds. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the way that I see that went. So a game is 90 minutes long. It doesn't really matter so much what happens in that first 45 minutes, as long as when you get to the finish line, you're in front.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So
absolutely, 100%. I just want to pull up. I've actually got a screenshot of the Peru offside line. Let's have a look at this when it drops in. So there we go, Jace. This is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
It. I mean,
Can you see what I'm talking about? Like, for the linesman, the only thing that I can think is because the linesman is ahead of the player, he can see more of Aronson than really he should be able to, and then he thinks he's offside. But he's clearly not offside. Like, you can. I just don't understand how the linesman makes that decision given Jake Cooper's position. I just don't get it.
No, absolutely not. No, strange one. Talking to performances, and obviously we've kind of mentioned, I agree 100% about Peru. I thought he was just excellent. I thought his link-up play, the way he protected the ball, you're absolutely bang on. I thought he was absolutely incredible. I think he just needed that goal, like you're saying. He should have had it. He should have had it in that moment. I mean, for me, I've said it is another level to this guy, and there's going to be that question: if we get promoted, is this guy to lead us in the Premier League? And I just look at his development under Farker in these 2 years, these 2 seasons he's had, and I mean, this is just not the same guy that was here, last year. I mean, he's developed so much. I mean, we used to have a problem with his pressing. I don't notice that anymore. I don't think about that. He's hounding people down. Obviously, he's got Brendan who complements him very well. I think that's a really probably underrated aspect to it all. I just think he's superb. I think he's. I think he has got another gear to him. I think he's one of them players who has got another gear to him. I think technically he's very, very good, and he might thrive in a higher level. It might bring more out of him.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of credit to Daniel Farker as well, because to kind of mould him into what he's become this season. And he's not had it handed to him on a plate. He lost his place last season to Bamford. He lost his place at the start of this season to Joseph. It's not been easy, but he's kind of triumphed through it all. And there's absolutely no doubt that he's the main man there.
When you think he's on 15 goals and he didn't start any of the first 8 games, and people were genuinely saying, oh, he should be off the bench and Joseph should start. I mean, it's just crazy, really, when you look in hindsight. He's levels and levels above Mateo Joseph in every asset. Every single asset. His link-up play is better. His press is arguably better. I mean, Joseph looks busy because he sprints at full pace, but he doesn't effectively press. Like, it's easy to look like you're effectively pressing when you've come on with 10 minutes to go and everybody's knackered and you're fresh. So yeah, and the link-up play, and even questionable, Joe Perreault's link-up play, and it definitely has improved, but it's miles better than Mateo Joseph's. And you're right, Daniel Farker has to take loads of credit, because the version of Joe Perreault that we saw last season isn't the same player that we see in this season. It's definitely a new version, a better version, and more all-rounded version, because today he was still doing the 10 stuff that he likes to do, where he drops deep, but he was then picking up the ball in and creating runs and problems further up the pitch as a number 9 as well. He was doing both, a little bit like, not obviously on the same level, but the Harry Kane kind of role that Harry Kane does. That's what he was doing today.
Absolutely.
And, he looked confident and in control of when he picked up the ball in them half spaces, linking up play to bring others in. I mean, the little touch inside to Aronson earlier on in the first half, I think it was. First half, he drops one right in. His first touch, especially on his left side. I mean, he's naturally both-footed, but his left side is, just that little bit more cute. I just thought it was brilliant. I thought everything. He gave the ball away once over 90-odd minutes, and I only remember it because the crowd went, oh! I was like, oh, Jesus Christ! Like, he can make one mistake in 90-something minutes. I thought it was brilliant, honestly, and I thought, you make the point about Brendan, and Brendan has I think Brendan has received a bit of criticism recently that would probably be fair on the surface for the last maybe 2 or 3 performances. However, I don't believe that if he was a favourite, he'd have got any of it. I think he'd have had the rope to play with. But because he's Brendan Harrison, because he's American, because he left last season, because of Jesse Marsh, because of all this and all the rest, he has no rope. The second he plays poorly, people are all over him. And tonight, he was back to pretty much his best. And he don't get a G&A. I don't care. Like, Brendan Aronson isn't there to score or assist, really. It's an asset to the game. It's a contribution. He definitely needs to chip in with some. He's got 8 goals this season, by the way.
Yeah.
But his role is to link the play and press.
Yeah.
James, Solomon, and Perrault, Bogle, and Firpo are where the goals and the assists come from in this team, not Brendan Aronson. So anything that Brendan chips in with is a bonus. And that's why he still plays every single week, because the role is different. So, yeah, Daniel Farke got it spot on today again, because I did worry that he would bring Joseph in and play Perrault in the 10.
Yeah.
And Brendan fully warranted the call to start today. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think, previous 2 performances, he was a bit anonymous, bit under par, didn't contribute much, it felt like. But I thought tonight you just saw what he's about, buzzing round and getting involved, linking up the play. And technically there's shortcomings. I think we all know that there are shortcomings, and whether Premier League, I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced there, but I thought you're absolutely right. And I think you're absolutely bang on about the underlying issue here is the fact of this bias against him that he left and it's America. Because I remember, and I mean, I love Matthias Klick. I think the world of him as a Leeds fan. He was horrendous for Leeds for a good 18 months. And people were still saying, even when he left, that, why have we let him go? He was awful.
There were people saying he should come back last January on loan, mate.
He was awful. That Matthias Klick was absolutely awful for the last 18 months or so. But because he had the goodwill, it was like, forget about it. Blinkers on. No, he's
Luke Ayling had that too.
Yeah.
Bill's legs had gone, and I know he's gone on to do well at Middlesbrough, change of scenery and whatnot. Maybe he's played a part in that, but the Ayling that we saw last season shouldn't have been anywhere near our team.
No.
But people just wanted to put him in because it was Luke Ayling. So I couldn't agree with you more, mate. I could not agree with you more. I thought it was brilliant tonight. Not only did I just think he contributed well, I thought he just started everything for us. He epitomised what we were about. We were all over the pitch, both sides of the pitch, linking play. Brendan's biggest deficiency is his left foot.
Yeah.
Because he's in them tight half spaces and he doesn't have a very good left foot, it then means that he always has to circle his body back around to get it onto his right foot.
Yeah.
Or if he ends up being funneled into a certain part of the pitch carrying the ball on his right foot. That's what lets him down the most. If you actually watch the way that he plays, some of his decision making and all the rest of it, but he's in a difficult part of the pitch where you're going to give the ball away more often in that area of the pitch. You just are. Yeah. But if you have a look at a Pablo Hernandez or Samu Saiz or Buendia, these players that have done really, really well in that role in the Championship, they've all got a really good balance on both sides and they're capable of playing the passes with the left foot and dribbling the ball with the left foot. Brendan isn't. He can't do it. So it does limit him. And I agree with you. I think Premier League is a completely different conversation. I would be happy with him being part of the squad, but there's absolutely no way that he should be our starting 10 in the Premier League. But we're not in the Premier League. We're in the Championship. And he is, I will say until I'm blue in the face, he is as good as any number 10 in this division for this system. I don't think there's another 10 in this division that would suit Daniel Farke's system better than Brendan Aronson. I really don't.
No, and you've also got to ask the question of, if a manager who has won the title twice, got 90 points, so many times, if he thinks he's right for that position, surely there has to be some good reason why, really, I mean, let's give him some kind of benefit of the doubt there. A couple other players in Solomon. I thought Solomon was so creative tonight and just he does this move where he kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but he kind of switches the ball onto his other foot, and the way his body moves, it's kind of, you think, God, that's going to be difficult for him to control. Oh no, he's done that Solomon thing where he kind of shimmies and is away. And
I know exactly what you mean.
His technique and his technical ability is just unreal, and the way he uses his body. But I just thought he was just, such a threat, and doesn't give the ball away cheaply, creative, creates the first goal, threatening, probably should have had a goal himself. I mean, he had one really good chance where he actually quite a bad effort. Really should have done a bit better. But I mean, he's just constant, isn't he, mate? He's just an absolute threat.
I mean, I said it all season, and I'll still say it. I think he's the best player in the division. Like, I don't know whether he's had the performances throughout this season to win Championship Player of the Season. No. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah, I would probably say that will go to Dan James as it currently stands. I can only imagine it's going to go to a Leeds player. Joel Perreault's going to be up there because of his numbers and the position in which he plays. Joe Rodon could be in for that conversation as well. Tanaka could be in for that conversation as well. But in terms of raw ability and talent, I don't think there's a better player in the division than Manor Solomon. He always has two players on him. Always, without fail, every team that we play against, and he still manages to find a way to influence games and bring others into the play. He very, very rarely gives the ball away, which is an underrated talent of a winger. You know, he usually will pick the right pass or right area to put the ball into. His delivery is brilliant. He's capable on both feet. He assists. He scores. I do think he should score more. I do think there's an avenue within him that is a bit wasteful when he strikes at goal in a Leeds shirt. Like the chances that he scored for Tottenham and for Fulham before, I've seen him cut it onto his right foot and bend loads in far corner, and he just doesn't seem to do that as much for us. Like Somerville did last season. When Solomon got up to speed, I imagined that he would end up having the same kind of goals as Somerville, you know, pro ratio to the games that he played. That's the only negative I can say of him. But I think everything else is absolutely brilliant. And he's picked up a right partnership with Firpo down that left-hand side. Yeah. And, you know, as well, and this goes under the radar, Manor Solomon defensively is brilliant. He's stepped up some. There were moments in the first half where Junior Firpo got caught, obviously completely out of it. And Solomon busted his bollocks to get back to the byline and blocked it, came back off the attacker and went out for a Leeds goal kick. Yeah. Like, so many wingers that are as talented as Manor Solomon wouldn't do that, but he does because that's what he's about. So yeah, he's just brilliant, mate.
What about his fitness? What about his fitness as well? I mean, I didn't think we were going to get. I mean, I don't know how many appearances he's made this season, but I mean, he's done amazingly well. I mean, he's playing, you know, twice a week if need. I mean, I can't believe how much we've managed to get from this guy, considering how badly affected he's been by injuries recently. I mean, it's kudos to him, to the medical staff, to the whole setup, really.
I think, like, when you buy or sign an injured player or a player that's got an injury history, it's always difficult to know where the luck will turn and the injury problems will end. The facts are is when we signed him, the words from him and the medical team was that the injuries were all behind him. It had been sorted. It was a really serious knee injury, and he'd put it all to bed. The problem that sometimes comes with an injury layoff like that is that you then get loads of little niggles in other areas because your body's not being used to the demand of first team football. And we saw that at the beginning of the season. He got in, he got a back injury, then that turned into a hamstring injury, you know what I mean? But then since he's come back, he's been an ever-present, basically. I think it will be his most appearances that he's made since his, like, Shakhtar days. He's never made... I mean, he must be 25 plus. He must be.
It's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, and you're right. It's testament to him. It's testament to the club and the medical department. And I think, you know, we have to remember that the only reason he's in this division is because of that injury history. He wouldn't be here with us anyway if it wasn't for that. A Premier League team would have signed him or Spurs would have used him. I mean, you know, there were talk of him, people asking whether he could go back in January because Spurs were that desperate for players. I'm willing to bet that they probably wouldn't have let him go if they'd have known what was going to happen over there this season. So, you know, he's a Premier League player. He is a Premier League player. So we're very lucky to have him.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan James on the other side this evening. I mean, God, he works his socks off, doesn't he? I mean, you know, when you see the Dan James press, you know, where the ball's going back to the keeper, you just see this road runner down straight down the throat. I mean, I was a little surprised that he didn't come off kind of earlier because I was thinking, God, he's gonna pull a hammy or something in a second because he's just charged, isn't he? I was like, please don't you know, don't ruin him, don't break him, please.
I I was saying about 4 minutes before the subs started to happen. I think it was when the second goal went in. I'm really surprised Dan's still on the pitch because he had absolutely busted his nuts, and he looked like he was a bit spent.
Yeah.
And I know we might get onto this, but I actually think Daniel Farke was laying a little bit of a marker down today in terms of, don't tell me what to do with my squad. And subs, if you come on the pitch, you best influence the game more than you did at the weekend. I really do believe it was that, because we could have probably done with a sub around 70, but we didn't see one. We didn't see one until the game was dead. And I think that was very intentional. Yeah, it was very intentional. 84th, 85th minute before we saw any subs at all. And even then, Dan James still didn't come off. But that aside, I thought it was very, very intentional. And I think, you know what, it's fair of a manager to do that. 3-4 days ago we played, or whatever, 3 days ago we played, and Ramazani, you got 25 minutes to influence that game, and you barely looked like you could be bothered half of it. That's how I felt about Sunday's performance when he came on.
Yeah.
He didn't influence the game at all. So why do you then deserve to come on in a game in which we're winning? I'm going to leave the players out there that I trust until you show me that I can trust you again. So I get it. A manager manages his team in many different ways, and he will, I'm sure, feel like he's probably going to get more out of them the next time they get an opportunity on the back of what he's done. So
yeah, I think that's a good point. I'd not really thought of that, but because it kind of stood out, like what's going on here? Like 80th minute, 85th minute. You're thinking, why has he not done this? But I get what you're saying. I can imagine that, because they had a good opportunity in a good amount of time at the weekend and did nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting dynamic, isn't it? Because I mean, we had Jadon Anthony last year who just saw so few minutes.
Yeah.
And it was the kind of worry is, do you kind of get into that situation where everybody talks about what a great squad we've got, but then you end up not really kind of getting the best of the whole squad. But I mean, for me, watching that game tonight, we were so good second half, and we were just creating and dominating. It's like, well, yeah, why would you break that up? Why would you break that up? I mean, it was actually, funnily enough, it was Neil Warnock speaking about when Sunderland were 1-0 up against Leeds, and manager started bringing in changes, and Leeds obviously ended up winning. Not just saying it's because of that, but sometimes those players on that pitch, they feel that game, don't they? Been out there for 70 odd minutes, and they look to me like they were determined to stay out there and get that second goal.
The momentum was with the second half as well. Like, so you don't want to break that up. You don't want to change something to then potentially affect that. And I do think in the key areas of the pitch, we had a lot of that control. You look at the players that you're potentially thinking about swapping, Brendan, Joel Perreault, Dan James, Manor Solomon, they were causing them all sorts of trouble. And Tanaka and Rothwell had the game on lockdown. You didn't even see a Millwall midfielder. Yeah. So, why would you change any of them positions? And then you're looking at changing somebody like Jayden Bogle, maybe just for the sake of it because of this yellow card situation, or Firpo to save him from an injury or whatever. But it didn't make any sense to make any of them subs. I mean, I'd have been fuming if he'd have taken Manor Solomon off. And that's usually the sub that he goes to first, Ramazani or Nonto over on that left side. It would not have made any sense at all. And Perreault and Brendan were playing brilliantly, especially Perreault. I know he came off with like 2 minutes ago, which is fine, save him for the weekend. But yeah, it wouldn't have made any sense at all. So yeah, no qualms for me at all. The fact that he made them wait, no qualms at all.
No, absolutely. Let's get to some of your comments saying, Gavin, Bogle, no yellow, so that's reset now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think there were some fans thinking, Bogle has been kind of a little, not off it, but kind of not his absolute best for the last couple of games. Did he have it in the back of the mind that he wasn't wanting to get a 2-game suspension? Well, that's not going to be a concern now. But I thought it was more kind of what we've seen from Bogle tonight.
Yeah. I thought he,
dynamic, wasn't it?
Yeah, going forward, he inverted a little bit more than he did at the weekend, and he definitely did affect the game down that side a little bit more. There were a couple of moments where he could have just picked a better decision. James had put him through to the byline, and he just maybe didn't deliver quickly enough or quite make the right decision. But I thought he had a good game, and he he had a bit of an hard time down that side. And one of their biggest outlets is Joe Bryan down the left-hand side, and he kind of kept him as quiet as possible, really. Dan Aziz, who scored the 2 goals in the FA Cup, is on his side as well. He didn't have a sniff and got subbed after 70 minutes. So, yeah, I thought he had a fine game without being spectacular, if I'm honest, mate. I thought, yeah.
Yeah. Nige, teams play like Barcelona against us and lose the next game. Yeah, I've seen Portsmouth have lost to Plymouth, haven't they? 2-1 at home tonight.
But Browney, we used to see that a lot again under Bielsa, and teams do run themselves into the ground to beat us because they have to. They have to play 110, 120% to match us.
Yeah.
So then 3 days later, when they are then playing an absolute decider against Plymouth, they end up losing. So, yeah, sure, great. Have your day in the sun by beating us and giving it, beyond what you've got. But then it costs you 3 days later in a relegation 6-pointer. So, I'm sure they'll probably be fine regardless after the 3 points at the weekend anyway. But I do think it's definitely a thing. People scoff at us for saying it, the Leeds tax and all the rest of it. But it's the reality. It is the reality, mate.
It is. John, thanks for your comment, mate. We ground out a result against a bogey side result. Dull first half, but then we got the 3 points.
I didn't think it were a ground out result, by the way. I don't like a ground out result makes it sound like it were tight. We dominated the whole game. They didn't even have a shot on target, guys.
No, they didn't, did they? God.
So, in my opinion, that's not grounding out a result. But I get you. I hear it, but I think it's harsh.
Gavin, unbelievable that all 4 results go our way this midweek. I mean, Jason, what did you make of Burnley and Sheffield United results last night? I mean, the Sheffield United won 92nd minute equaliser for Bristol there or something, and it's gone our way, hasn't it, after the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, that's just the Championship all over, isn't it? But I mean, I don't think anybody's that surprised by them dropping points in them 2 games. Bristol City, West Brom, both playoff contenders. Bristol City actually dominated the whole game. They probably should have won the game, to be honest. Yeah. And they find themselves 1-0 behind again because that's just what Sheffield United do. Burnley needed West Brom to kind of give them one to equalise. They've conceded for the first time in the league in forever. So, yeah, great for us. And it just shows that they will drop points. They absolutely will drop points. We probably all will drop points again between now and the end of the season. But I think the commentary, I don't know about you, but we're doing my head in tonight. The old guy that will wittering some right waffle. But he disagreed with the point in the first half, then must have checked himself at half time and then come back in the second half and said that he agreed with what Daniel Farke was trying to say in the presser, in that we win his first 5 as 5 home games, and we're probably up just with them. That takes us to 91 points, and that's if we lost all of the away games, which we won. So we're on 91 points with winning them 5, and we've just won one of them tonight. So another 4 wins, we're on 91 points. So I just don't think there's any reason to panic. There's going to be some nervy moments. There's probably going to be some more drop of the points. We might even lose at the weekend, guys. We might. QPR is a tricky place to go. So I'm not, again, getting myself too hung up about it. Like, I'm comfortable. I'm calm. This team, again, I'll say it, is the best team in the division. And that will show out come the end of the season. I'm telling you.
Yeah, because you mentioned QPR there, and as FV White says, we need to stop beefing up QPR. And it's interesting that because, and I'm guilty of it as well. It's like, Loftus Road, QPR, it's a dinner time kickoff. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And, I was thinking tonight, God, we need to get us points advantage back because we're likely to drop points there. But, you watch us tonight, you watch the quality of team, and we can really, we absolutely can beat anyone in this league. And what I would say is, get what you deserve down there. If we get chances again down there, make sure you put it away. Get what you deserve, because this team, even at the weekend, not a great performance, but still could have won the game comfortably. 2 or 3-0,
Yeah.
If it comes round again and it's that type, it's going to be a similar atmosphere, isn't it, Loftus Road? It's going to be that kind of on top of you, kind of raucous. It's going to be Leeds United tax. This is going to be there. They're going to absolutely want to beat us. We've got a terrible record in London. We know all that kind of stuff. But just purely based on us. And I hope tonight it's just kind of, just reminded them a little bit that, look, this is how good you can be, but we've really got to be at it like we want. I mean, I thought against West Brom, you know, the midfield wasn't as dominant, or it's not effort kind of thing, but I just thought tonight we were just so on it. You know, it's hard to describe, but I just felt we were really back to being fully on it tonight.
West Brom are a good side, mate. West Brom, you know, West Brom. And I made this point when we were doing the review against West Brom. West Brom have got a really good midfield. So if our, you know, especially Championship midfield, Mowat, Swift, you know, Jason Malumbi in there, like the tough, rugged centre midfield in the Championship that can boss a game. If you're at 98%, that 2%. Is going to just mean that you lose enough of them battles. That means that you only come away with a point from that game. You know, and then West Brom should probably beat Burnley and throw one in their own net to draw 1-1 against Burnley as well. You know, they're a team that are going to cause upsets against us all. So, you know, we've not beaten West Brom this season. We've drawn both games in two stinkers, haven't we, really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, you know, we have to be fair with what we're dealing with. I think the QPR point, I think, is a fair one. I think it comes more from the PTSD of every time we seem to go to QPR, we seem to have a bit of an issue. I remember us losing under Bielsa there when Phillips got sent off in the last minute. It kicked somebody up in the air for no reason, just purely out of frustration. Obviously, what happened last season, I can't remember the last time we won at QPR. I genuinely can't remember a good, favourable result there. What did we do there not last season, the promotion season? I can't remember.
Question I'd love to know, actually.
But it isn't a place that bodes well for us. But I don't believe in that. I've told you this before. Like, I am not a believer of, we lost there last year, so this, you know, or we've not won there in 5 years, so it means that this year we won't win again. Like, I don't believe in that kind of thing. It's not real. It's just coincidences, you know. So it'll be a tough game, like any Championship away fixture is a tough game. Not because it's in London, not because it's at Loftus Road, not because it's QPR, just because it's another Championship fixture from a team that wants to beat us. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Gavin, Wendy's will beat Blunt. Well, this is the other thing, isn't it, as well? Because, you know, we play first at the weekend, so we could have a nice big gap, and then, you know, it's a couple of difficult games for Burnley and Sheffield United. I mean, Sheffield United going to obviously Sheffield Derby away from home Sunday dinner time kickoff. I mean, that's going to be tough for them, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that game's always a tough one, isn't it? Any derby's got a little bit of an extra juice to it, and they're going to be desperate to try and put a real spanner in the works of Sheffield United, aren't they? You know, Sheffield Wednesday have not got too much left to play for this season. They're going to finish mid-table, so you know the pressure's not really on them. They just need to kind of do what they can for the fan base to try and take that one home for them, which, you know, it means a lot, doesn't it? You know, we know that when we've not had a lot to play for in previous years, Derby Day comes up and you still want to make sure that you have them bragging rights, and especially in a Steel City derby, you know, Sheffield is very, very, it's a very historic derby, isn't it? You know, so it's a bit, it reminds me of the Merseyside derby. It's similar to Liverpool-Everton. So, yeah, I think it'll be a tough one. Hopefully they drop points. Hopefully Sheffield Wednesday can even win that game. I think a draw would be great for us because, you know, Sheffield United are a bit of a juggernaut at the moment. They just keep on turning up and getting points on the board. So, yeah, it'd be a massive result for us, mate. But there's going to be other drop points. You mean the third to last? Is that the right way to say that?
Yeah.
The third to last game of the season is Burnley versus Sheffield United. So one of them's got to drop points, or both of them. They can't both take 3 points. So, you know, there's going to be plenty of moments, and they've still got other teams to play in and around that top 6. I think they've both got Coventry left to play as well, and Coventry are on an absolute mammoth run at the moment. They just keep on picking up points. So, yeah, we'll be fine, mate. We're going to be fine.
Yeah. We'll get there. I just had a cheeky look actually at the promotion season under Bielsa, and it was actually the Phillips sending off.
Was that season?
Naki Wells 1-0 QPR.
That was when he handballed it. It was a free kick, if I remember rightly, that Wells caught with his hand and then tapped it in on the line. So we had that happen, and then Phillips got sent off later on in the game for kicking Sanfield up in the air. But I'm almost sure that we lost 1-0 the season before that under Bielsa as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I've just seen it. Yep. So we've got precedent. So whatever, we got us points gap. Let's have a look at the table then, Jason. So this is what we're looking at now. 9 games left. Sorry, goal difference looking very strong, obviously, and we've got a bit of a points gap again, which obviously just psychologically just helps, doesn't it? I'll be feeling better tomorrow than I did the previous couple of days. I'll tell you that.
Do you think 4 wins does it? So like if we were saying 91, because I'm bordering now on saying I don't think 91 does it, but that would mean Burnley would need 17, right? Because they would. Am I right? So they would finish on 91. Yeah, so they would need to finish on 92 because of goal difference. Let's just say we have the better goal difference, just for the sake of arguing, right? So they would need to have 17 points out of the next 9.
I think they're capable. I do think they're capable. I think it's annoyingly.
And they both would have to do that, though.
Yes, yeah.
Because Sheffield United would also need to. They would need 17. They would need 15. But do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think
so.
It could be enough.
Feels like normally you would go, surely that would be fine. But I just think I can just see them keeping pace with us. To be honest.
What do you think could be enough then? And this goes out to that as well. Like, anybody think like what? So, do you think that you're going to need 95 points to finish second? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's surely not. Surely not. Surely you're not going to need 95 points to finish second. But maybe, Jason. I don't know. Let's see. What's everyone thinking in the chat? How many points do we need for promotion?
So 16 points would still only be 5 wins and a draw out of the next 9. Even that's well achievable. I don't think we'll need that, but let's say we do. That still means that we can still lose another 3, and we've only lost 4 all season.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like when you start actually adding it up, and then you throw in the fixtures that we've got too. Because those fixtures are very favourable. They're very, very favourable. I mean, we finished the season with Plymouth away. Now, fingers crossed Plymouth can't stay up and we need to win. Because can you imagine that?
That'd be dreadful. That would be dreadful.
Jesus.
But we've also, looking at it, we've got 5 3:00 kickoffs as well. Which I think is quite...
You and this 3:00 kickoff.
No, but I think there's something to it. I'm telling you. I just want to see it, even if it doesn't correlate. I'm just glad there's some 3:00 kickoffs in there. And what else have we got? We've got
somebody mentioned it on radio the other day, and I'm like, you guys talk about like professional sport every day, and like you're supposed to be the experts. Are you really telling me that you think that Dan James and co having to get up a couple of hours earlier is the reason that we're not winning that game? I just can't understand.
But what is going on when it's like so many games we haven't won at that time?
It's just coincidence, Brownie. It's genuinely just coincidence.
8 coincidences? 8 coincidences? Is that really?
Okay, so what I'm saying, right, just imagine, just for the case of this argument, right, that all of the games were 3:00 kickoffs. Every single game, all 46, yeah? What would you then say about the 10 draws and 4 losses that we've got?
I get what you mean. Like, they've
got to come somewhere, haven't they? Because otherwise you just win every game. Like, I don't. It's just coincidence that it tends to be on them 12:00 kickoffs. Like a few weeks ago, it was as away form was terrible. Then we turned as away form around, and now all of a sudden it's 12:00 kickoffs. Like, I just don't. I don't get it. I just think like. Has anybody actually gone and looked at the teams and where we've played in them 12:00 kickoffs? Like Fratton Park away is very different to Stoke away when we may have played Stoke at 3:00 on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm just making the point. Like I just don't buy it.
Yeah, no, I get that because I think looking at them, we seem to have had some difficult ones at that time. I think where it's normally these kind of little tiny grounds and fans on top of us, so it's probably. Fair enough. It might just be a coincidence.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying it's my opinion. Like I can think, like where have we lost this season? So we lost Burnley early kickoff. I were there. Yeah. So Burnley early
Oh,
kickoff.
yes.
Yeah, that was an early kickoff at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we lost that one. Blackburn away. Was that an early kickoff? I think that was a 3:00 kickoff, if I'm honest, but I can't remember.
Was that with the boys? One of them. But
the other one was Millwall away. I'm pretty sure that was an early kickoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the weekend.
Millwall.
So I'm just again, they're 4 extremely difficult games for their own reasons. 3 of them are away from home.
Yeah.
You know, so I just don't think it's the surface of it. I think it's a fancy thing for people to talk about, but I just refuse to believe that the fact that Pascal Stroik's having to eat his shreddies at 6:00 in the morning instead of 8:00 in the morning makes any difference to the result of a game of football. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, please just end any chat of this, Leeds. Just go to QPR and just win at the weekend, please, and we can put it to bed.
We're early kickoff Saturday, aren't
we? Yeah. 12:30. If we lose that, Jason, I'll be like, I told you.
All right, mate.
Accept it now. If we lose that one, Jason, do you accept it now?
No, because it's Loftus Road. We've not won there in 5 years, and I believe in that hoodoo. Do you
remember as last year QPR away? It was that video we did the next day was brutal, wasn't it? It was just crashing and burning at that point, wasn't it? It was bad. How many games were left at that point? There was only about 4 games.
I think it was a little bit more than that. I think it was 6 or 6-ish.
Was it?
Yeah, 6 or 7, something like that. I don't know. I'd have to have a look, but it were that were the day that we really knew. I know it weren't the day that it was over, but that were a bad day. Bad day. I mean, as championship performances go in promotion battling seasons, Bielsa season 1 and 2, and Farke season 1 and 2 so far, that was probably the worst. Yeah. I think of Forest away when Luke Ayling did the interview that's really famous. We lost 1-0, but the performance was bad. That one's up there, but and Wigan at home, Jesus Christ, Wigan at home when we played against 10 men for 70 minutes and still lost the game 2-1. Reece James scoring twice. We missed the penalty. Yeah, I think of that one, but the 4-0 QPR was probably the worst of the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Jason, going into it, obviously the weekend, it's the international break, of course. Yeah. After this, and so a little bit of good news for me today is Brendan Aronson won't be going. He won't be involved in the international break. I just think, amazing. That could actually be absolutely huge. Because I mean, the way he plays the game, for God's sake, it'll just be nice for him not to be playing for them. Obviously the Welsh boys are being called up, or Rodon and James. It's always a kind of this March international break, with what happened last year. It's one of them, isn't it, where it's kind of, you will be keeping an eye on it, won't you? Injury news. And was it the one where, do you remember Nonto was in? He was absolutely on fire, and didn't he get injured in this international break? And then he couldn't play for a couple of weeks after, and then he never quite got it back again. Am I remembering that right?
I can't remember if that was the March one, but the only thing I really remember of the March one is the condition that Ampadu, Rodon, and James came back in. James missed the deciding penalty in the playoff game against Finland. Yeah. Glenn Kamara played in the same game and played 120 minutes as well. And it was just a recipe. I mean, them 3 came back and they were shocking, all 3 of them. Yeah, they were. James, Rodon, and Ampadu, especially James, and Ampadu as well. Ampadu had a real downturn after that. Now, thankfully, this international break has got no competitive fixtures. I don't believe it's all friendlies. I'm sure the players will be looked after. If anything, it could come at a good time for us if we win and the results go for us. The opponent. As opponents in Sheffield United and Burnley both get negative results, it could actually work in our favour. A nice time to have a bit of a break. Did you just say there? Sorry, I kind of zoned out for a minute. That Tanaka was going away.
I don't. Well, do you know what? It's funny enough because I was just going to ask actually if you knew, but I don't know about Tanaka. I don't know if he's been called up because he would be one just the distance alone.
Yeah.
Again, central midfielder. I'm like, it's one of them like. Please don't end up playing 3 90-minute games or something,
It doesn't start every game for Japan. That's one thing I will say for Tanaka. I remember last time he went away, I think he played one of the games and then was on the bench for the other 2. And he also doesn't strike me as the kind of player that would be really that bothered. He's a player that just players, doesn't he? You know, that Asian mentality. They're just nuts, aren't they? They're totally different to us. You know, I can imagine the English boys looking for a bit of a rest where he'll be like, "No, I'm playing. Like, I'm the man. You know, I got it in the legs. Don't worry about it." So, I'm not too worried about it in general this year. I think last season it did fall at a terrible time for us.
It did.
We were in like hot form, and what happened within them games was very specific and niche. Where I don't think we've got that to contend with this time, thankfully.
No, exactly. Yeah, the Welsh boys thing was just that was. If you had to pick the worst thing to happen on an international, that was pretty much that. Good stuff, Jason. Before we wrap up, then we've got us points lead back. We've won tonight. How are you feeling going into the weekend?
Yeah, well, just first off, before we talk QPR for the weekend, Daniel Farke in this game broke a championship record, quickest manager with a single club to 50 championship wins, which is just nuts. Like 50 wins in 80-something games or something. You know, if that doesn't tell you everything that you need to know about what he has achieved this season and last season for that matter, I mean, I don't know what to say yet. And 45 games now under Daniel Farke for Leeds United, we've taken the lead and not lost the game. And not only that, but we've won 41 of them. 41 wins out of 45 times we've gone in front. We've drawn 4 times when we've taken the lead. That is insane. We've not lost a game when we've taken the lead under Daniel Farke. That is crazy. So yeah, it's unbelievable. So it deserves all the respect in the world for me. Yeah. As for the weekend, sorry, I don't know if you want to say something on that.
No, I was just going to say, Jess, because I've just seen a couple of comments through from Farke. Actually, a really interesting one in relation to the offside goal. So Farke said, the decisions against us over the last few weeks have been unacceptable. We had a call after the Coventry game about the Nonto goal, which should have been allowed. Then it is the same linesman tonight, again, given an offside. It was tighter tonight than at Coventry. So, yeah, do you know what? I'm glad he's speaking up about this stuff 100%. Because, you know, fight for it, because make them think in their head, oh, we can't just piss this away against Leeds United. We've got to actually officiate, do our jobs, and actually call things. Otherwise, you know, we're going to get told. I mean, what else is there left to do at this stage, Jason? Because we're getting so many of these decisions against us.
The thing is, Brown, it's not even a difficult decision. It's very similar to the Dan James penalty at the weekend that should have been given. I'm not asking the officials to side on the side of Leeds United because I'm a Leeds United fan. I'm asking them to just officiate the games correctly. Yeah. When clear decisions should be made and they're not, it's unacceptable, as Daniel Farke says. You know, the penalty of the weekend was so blatant.
Yeah.
And the referee wanted to give it. But as we've made the point with regards to the VAR, he bottled it. He absolutely bottled it because he would have VAR there to confirm the decision for him if he got it wrong. Because he doesn't, he can't make the brave decision, the correct decision. Exactly. And then this one tonight, you know, thankfully it doesn't cost us the game. But Daniel Farke's right to bring it up because it could have done. Yeah. If they'd have gone on to equalise and we could only find a 1-1 draw out of that goal could have made the difference between us staying in the championship and going up. That's how big these decisions. And again, I'm not that if that had sprung through and it had been a really tight decision, and you know the linesman struggling to keep up with the pace of play and whatnot, then fine. But the build-ups in and around that area of the pitch, he's got perfect line in front of him, and he can't see the attacker. There is absolutely no way that he can be sure that he's giving the offside. And the rule has always been, you go on the side of the attacker if you've got doubt. That's always been the... So it's just such a poor decision. And this is why I was kind of saying to the boys, and obviously they didn't fully agree with me that it was an horrendous decision. Lou thought it was a bad decision, but I think that's an horrendous decision because it's not a difficult one to get right, and you have to get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because you know if it ended up hinging on that, you know, then you know again we're the worse off for it.
You're talking this season 6 or 7, like apologies or comments, and we're winning most weeks, thankfully. But some of these games that we've not,
Like, they do hinge on these moments. I made the point about last season. I mean, the handball that Sunderland got away with at Ellen Road last year when we should have had a penalty, we drew that game 0-0. If we'd have won that game, it would have taken less pressure into the QPR game, because I'm pretty sure the QPR followed that game.
Yeah.
And, these things absolutely matter. I mean, the Sunderland player's hand was up here and he punched the ball away.
Yeah.
You're just not watching.
Forgotten about that.
I've got it saved on my PC somewhere. That screenshot of it. It was so bad.
Disgusting.
Anyway, sorry, you asked me about the weekend.
Yes. Go for it.
I'm pretty comfortable, mate. I have not dealt with this season with anxiety, really. I was a little bit nervous about today earlier, but I've been busy today, so I kind of take my mind off it. But within, obviously, 2 minutes in, you 1-0 up. And pretty much when we score, as we were kind of stating with the statistics earlier, when we score first, you can kind of sit back and relax.
Yeah.
And, I can't lie, like towards second half of the first half, got my laptop out and just carried on doing a couple of work bits that I needed to do while still being focused in. But I'm pretty relaxed. I'm pretty chilled about what's going on. Whereas in past promotion seasons, I'd have been on tenterhooks the whole game. And when we came out for the second half, we grew into it. We dominated the game. I knew the second goal would come. They didn't even have a shot on target, and we won the game comfortably. It was just another day at the office for Leeds United and these players. They're allowed to have what happened at the weekend, especially given the fact that we had 4 clear-cut chances and a blatant penalty turned down. I can get over it quickly when it's like that. So, I'm relaxed. It'll be tough at the weekend. I don't expect QPR to just turn up and roll over. I think it'll be 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, something in that kind of realm. I wouldn't be surprised if we came away from it with a point. I wouldn't cry about it. I think there'd definitely be worse points that we could pick up.
Yeah.
So, and then on to the next one. Another one ticked off, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you? You tell me.
I feel a lot better about it, now. You know me, mate. I was kind of just stressed after that pump.
You were raging on Sunday, weren't you?
I was angrier last night initially, seeing how those games were going. I was just so getting really wound up about it. I can't help it. It's just it just when these record breaking things that we're hearing about Farke, the most quickest amount of wins and all this. I look at it, I go, how are we not like 10 points clear and it already been done and in the bag? I'm like, how are teams even keeping pace with us? It's just, why is it still in the balance even at all? I'm like, we should be home and dry. It's crazy the level that it's been in the Championship these last 2 years. So many teams doing so well. It's absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. That's where my anxiety comes from.
No, I get it. And the funny thing is, this season, it almost feels like we've never deserved not to win. It feels like we deserve to win every week. The only game I think we've deserved to actually lose out and out this season was probably Blackburn away.
Yeah.
Millwall away wasn't a great game, but we could have come out of that with more. And Burnley at home, we certainly didn't deserve to lose that one. And then Portsmouth away, we could have easily won that one as well. And then you look at some of the draws as well. Portsmouth opening day, and there's plenty of results this season where we really probably should have taken all 3, and we didn't. But you can't win them all. Like
3-1 up against Hull.
3-1 up against Hull is a great example. Meslier throws that one in. Sunderland away, Meslier throws that one in. There's so many points. And I mean, these are not just games in which we should have, played better and lost. No. These are games in which we played well and somehow didn't win. It's a bit different. And it's like, I hear you. I don't think it's even that out of the realm to say that we could be another 10 points better off.
Yeah, same.
I think 10 points is probably in and around where we probably should be. If you have a look at the XG, I think it probably tells you that.
Yeah.
The XG tables, if you like. So, yeah, and that's kind of what gives me confidence for the rest of the season, because ultimately it will play out in that we will get what we need to get. But I hear you. But if you drop, because football is the way that it is. If you were to drop, I don't know. I'm not to picking one of the big teams. Let's say you dropped a Villa. Yeah, in the Championship. They're not going to win every game, man. No. And they'll lose games as well. They will lose games in it because it's football. You know, teams adapt and they find different ways to play. They do different things to try and stifle your opposition. We've lost 4 games all season.
Yeah.
You know, in 37 games now, we've dropped points in 14 of them. It's not, you know what I mean? We've won so many games against all sorts of different versions and tactics and attempts to try and stop us. We've still come out in so many games to the point where we're on 79 points or whatever it is now. It's insane. You know, to then lose us heads is just mad.
Well, this a bit. I mean, you wonder if this is part of Farke's message to the players as well. Like, you've come this far, you've achieved so much, you've done so well. Get what you deserve now. Finish the job. You know, get it done, because anything else is you know, it's just not right. You know, it's just not right if we don't do it this year. But you know, we'll wait and see.
Ultimately, you only deserve to go up if you finish in the top 2.
Yeah,
like you know, if we finish third, I'll be absolutely shocked and gutted and disappointed. But ultimately, we will deserve to finish there, because that's the points total that you finish on.
Yeah.
But you're right. There is a certain element of what this team have done over 37 games that deserves to not only get promoted, but to win the league. This team is the best team in the division. It is. Burnley and Sheffield United are not capable of winning games 7-0 in the Championship. They're not capable of playing the football that we are defensively and going forward. They're just not. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, mate. And we'll do it. Don't worry about it. We've got this.
I'll take your word for it, mate. I'll take your word for it. Good stuff. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for everyone who's been involved tonight. Get your comments in if you're watching this again later. Let us know what you thought of it. Let us know what you think of some of the things me and Jason have discussed. How do you think we'll get on against QPR? Are we going to get over the line? Let us know your thoughts. Get subscribed to the channel as well, and follow the socials on X and YouTube as well. We'll be back Saturday, Jason, in some way, shape, or form, or in and around the game, maybe straight after, or
yeah.
Can, but we will be back. We will give our thoughts on that game in a post match reaction to that. So do check that out as well. But thank you very much for watching. I've been Stephen Brown. With me has been Jason Booker. Jason, thank you, mate.
Thank you, mate.
And we will see you again at the weekend. Come on, Leeds. Here we go.